Well, hello there, health coaches. How are you doing this week? It's nice to be back with you today. And I have a question for you. I need to know if I am the only one, or has 2019 been crazy so far? I'm like, what? Is it still January? Where has the time gone? I feel like I've been going personally like a mile a minute ever since January 2nd, that first day back after the holidays. And it's kind of cool because my business has been growing by leaps and bounds, changing. I love all of it, but I've also been really much having too little downtime, forgetting to take my supplements, forgetting to eat, having trouble sleeping, all the rest that comes with it. Am I alone here? Or can you relate? So this week I really committed to recalibrating, and that's why today we are talking all about self-care for the health coach. By the way, if we haven't met before, my name is Michelle Fennighaus. I have been doing this work for 10 years and counting as a certified health coach. I'm also a mentor for my fellow health coaches. Obviously, that's why I do this podcast. And I'm part of the curriculum at the Institute for Integrative Nutrition. So if you are here and you're watching live, please go ahead and tell me what you want to talk about today. You can put a comment into the chat area. Hi, Tanya. I see that you're here. Hi, Jane. And I will get to those questions in just a few minutes. And just a note, by the way, that this episode is sponsored by my free training for health coaches. It's called How to Market Your Health Coaching Business So You Can Go Full Time. And you can sign up for that training at healthcoachpower.com/earn, as in earning money. It should be called something like How to Market Your Health Coaching Business So You Can Go Full Time Without Crashing and Burning. I really do try to take this into consideration whenever I am speaking to health coaches about business, marketing, all the things that we have to do. We're still health coaches. So unlike in other professions, where, yeah, maybe you are burning the candle at both ends constantly if you're selling real estate or if you're developing software, and these industries kind of move at that pace. As health coaches, we really need to pull it back and take care of ourselves. So yeah, I decided that today we were going to talk about it really based on my own recent experience. But also, when I saw this question from Melissa, I was like, yes, this is going to happen. So Melissa posted this in our group. She said, I have an obsession with my business and helping people. I love my family to pieces, but I wouldn't mind sitting on my laptop and doing business stuff and reading, learning more and more 24/7. This is 5 years now, and I have to make myself stop to enjoy my kids who are already getting too old and my hubby who I adore. Does anyone else have this issue? And I know a bunch of you commented and said, yes, I know what that's like, or yes, I know how that feels. And I'm right there alongside you, Melissa. I love my work. It's kind of this double-edged sword. We all want to love the work that we do in the world. We don't want to hate our job. But then when we love it so much that we never want to stop doing it, that also creates problems, doesn't it? I find there's a lot of these double-edged swords in this field. So for example, when you're an entrepreneur, and all you really need to work is a phone, a laptop, the good news is, hey, you can work anywhere. You can work on your own schedule. Sounds really great, doesn't it? Yeah, that's why you see all pictures of like entrepreneurs on vacation and the beautiful ocean in front of them, and yet they're like posting from Instagram or from the computer like how it's so cool that they can work anywhere. And it's like, no, actually, don't you maybe just want to be on vacation sometimes? So that's the bad news, because you can work anywhere and make your own schedule. The offshoot of that is that sometimes it's hard to step away. I have absolutely brought my laptop on vacation, partially because I want to, partially because I kind of have to. What if something happens? What if my online course goes down and nobody can access it? There's a problem. What if someone's trying to reach me? What if? You work for yourself, there's a lot of pressure there. So I think we just need to acknowledge that when you're a solopreneur, it's kind of all on your shoulders at times, and that can be a lot to bear. Let's just take a breath. I needed that. Did you need that? Okay. So I think that when we're with our clients, we can talk a really good game, but then end up doing the opposite. So I know that recently I have had this client who's just taken on way more than she can handle. She's doing like PTA stuff and she's working and she's got, kids with special needs and the whole bit. And so here I am encouraging her to do less and get support and delegate and say no, while I find myself at times kind of doing the same exact thing. This cannot be. So just like raise your hand or hit the like button if this is resonating with you so far. Here we are telling our clients to take care of themselves and eat well, but then rushing to the next client appointment or rushing to the next thing we have to do. Maybe you grab a slice of pizza. It's like this secret irony of being a health coach. Sometimes we don't take care of ourselves. So that is true. I think that we can agree. This is just the truth of the matter. And the other thing that I want to bring to light is that helping others all day long can be draining. It is true for any profession where you're giving of yourself. Nurses, for example, right? Any profession where you are helping, you are giving, all the energy is going out all day long. Can really drain a person, can't it? So the answer, I'm just going to have to say, is not just self-care, but extreme self-care. And noticing when you get into a place where you're not happy, where you're not feeling balanced, where you're like, wait, didn't I get into this whole thing so that like I would be a healthier, happier person and I'd be helping other people be healthier and happier? When you reach those points, it's time to hit the pause button. And I really recommend sitting down with yourself, like I did this week, and making yourself your own most important client. I think if you do it on the fly, if you kind of just say to yourself like, oh, like if I said, oh, Michelle, like, you know better, get to bed earlier tonight. And then the other part of my brain goes, yeah. So I think when I'm more formal about it and kick myself through the same process that I would go through with any of my clients, what's going well? What challenges are you facing? What actions can you take to make change? Ask the tough questions, make lists, and really see it in black and white. We start to see that there are lots of places that although we are the so-called experts, might be falling down a little bit, might need to support ourselves better if we're going to continue to support everybody else. One thing for everybody right now, please take out a pen and pencil. If you're listening to this while you're driving or something, do not take out a pen and pencil, but do commit to memory. What are your work hours? When do they start? When do they end? On what days? You got to pretend like you have one of those shingles that you hang on the door, or, the little thing that says open, and then you're going to write in with marker, Monday, 9 to 4, or whatever it is. You need to know what your work hours are. Too often our work hours bleed into all of our waking hours, and this is not a healthy way to live, obviously. Even if it's for the good of your clients, the betterment of the world, it doesn't really matter if you're doing good work or if you're selling, used cars, you still need to set those boundaries. Ginger's saying, I really needed this talk. Exactly what I've been thinking since January. Oh, Ginger, I have this talk with myself about once every 6 months. I think I've been doing that for the past decade. At times, it's my husband who has had to break in and give me this talk. He's like, Michelle, I thought you got into this because you didn't want to be stressed out with the corporate job, and this was going to make you happy. And I'm like, okay, all right, I hear you. Need to take a step back. So first step, everybody got your work hours? Please write them down and treat them like you are an employee of your own business, which you are, which means you're going to adhere to those hours and not work overtime, because it's not like you get paid for overtime. The next thing, we have to do less. Sometimes I call this ruthless prioritization. So this means you're going to look at your calendar and start slashing anything that does not absolutely need to be there. I know this is hard. It's hard because you're looking at all the things you want to do with your business, which are many and varied. I know, me too, but also your personal life. a lot of times we get invitations for birthday parties for my kids. I got 2 kids, and each one has like 30 kids in their class or whatever. So that's 60 birthday parties. So that's more than one a week. I mean, it's crazy. So we're just like, no, I'm sorry, we can't make it. No, I'm sorry, we can't make it. And then maybe every third one, I'll say yes. You're allowed to do that. Like, you're allowed to say no to things. And so that is true with your business and in your personal life. And please do. One thing I like to think about my business is really, what is my business goal? Very specifically, for like the next month or for the next 2 months. Is it building my mailing list? Is it launching a new program? For me right now, the next big thing in my business is launching a brand new website and podcast, which is no joke, friends. So does that mean I can also take on another project? Oh yeah, I'll do this other thing. Oh yeah, let me get involved with Snapchat this week. No. So we're just getting rid of all the extras when you start feeling overwhelmed. So you actually have some space in your calendar. It's funny, I do time blocking in my calendar, which I think is a terrific method. It helps me get a lot done. So if you looked at my Google Calendar, it literally looks like a bunch of squares. Like, from this time to this time, I'm going to do this task. Like right now, it says on my calendar, from 3 o'clock to 3:30, you're going to do your live broadcast for the podcast. And it helps. However, I have stopped allowing time in the schedule for taking a shower, for eating, because sometimes it's so easy to say, oh yeah, like I'll just kind of eat while I'm doing this other task, or oh yeah, I'll fit in a quick shower, but then you don't. Friends, make time block the shower. This is something that I used to do. It fell off like by the wayside when I got too busy, and I am bringing it back in a big way, along with time to eat, not just eat, but cook some food, right? It's not like I'm getting some drive-through meal to eat. I cook my food. I'm sure you do too. And that goes back to why health coaches are different than other entrepreneurs. You do need to take the time to actually make the eggs, cook the kale, whatever it is that you're eating. So put that into your calendar. On this idea of food, what about a food diary? Like, when was the last time you did a food diary for yourself? I hadn't done one in a very long time. My eating habits are generally very on track. I feel good. I don't often, go wildly off in any direction. But I did keep a food diary a while back for this practitioner that I started to see. She wanted to see a food diary. And it was amazing to me to even just look and see what I was actually eating every day. I highly suggest it. And actually, if you refer back to last week's episode 53, I talked all about how to do a food diary with your clients. Well, guess what? You can make yourself your client and do the whole thing for yourself. So that's an idea, if you're feeling off balance, to take a step back and really, again, put down in black and white exactly what's going on in your life. Tanya's saying, I need to figure out how to be more productive during work hours. I feel like I spend so much time working, but I get very little done. Yes, that is a big problem for so many of us, Tanya. So just going back to the time blocking idea, when I time block, my time block never looks like this. Work on website from 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock. That would not be a useful way for me to block my time, because when I actually get to that task, it's going to be like, work on website. Okay, well, I guess I should, what should I do to work on my website? Maybe I should do this. Maybe I should do that. So instead of saying that you're going to work on something, a great tip is to think about what you're going to produce. So in this time, let's say from 2 to 4 p.m., I'm going to produce the copy that's going to go on the homepage of my website, or I'm going to produce the graphics that are going to go with my blog post, or whatever it is. So think in terms of what's going to be produced, not what you're going to work on. Because of course, we could, quote, work on our businesses from now till kingdom come and still not be finished. And then, of course, you guys, I know about 7,000 health coaches. That's how big our group is right now and growing. You can hire a health coach, and many do. I have been a health coach for other health coaches more times than I can count. Or you can hire a life coach, or you can hire somebody else who's going to support you in the same way. Just because you are the so-called expert does not mean that you don't need support. In fact, you would be very smart to support yourself so that you can continue to be the expert and run your own business. So what I'm saying is, when things start to go out of balance, be your own best support, but also find support systems elsewhere. And I'd love to hear if any of you are doing that and how you're doing it. So with all of this in mind, I figured, how about we have some transparency here? There's some things that I am doing right now to sort of right myself, to pull myself back to center. This can be different for everybody, but I thought it might be interesting to actually share with you what I've decided needs to change so that I can move forward. So interestingly, for about 6 months now, I've been doing a version of intermittent fasting where it started with, in the morning, I wouldn't eat until about 10 or 10:30 or maybe 11 o'clock. And that was fine. And then I noticed that as my body adjusted, I wouldn't even feel hungry around 11 o'clock. So then I wasn't eating until about 12 o'clock. Or if I got busy, sometimes it would be like 12:30 or 1 o'clock, not even on purpose, but I wasn't hungry and I'd forget. And I was finding myself going longer and longer hours without eating. This is not good, I think, for me. I know other people have all kinds of fasting routines and schedules that they put themselves on. But I think for me, I was getting to a point that by the time I was eating, my body was going into a little bit of a state of panic, right? Fasting is, it's telling your body like there is something going on where your body's thinking, uh-oh, we don't have food, right? Like at some point, your body feels that that's a problem, and that's not a good state for your body to be in. That's not a calm place. That's a place that's very anxiety provoking. So I thought, you know what? Forget this. I'm going to go back to breakfast for a while, normal breakfast, normal lunch, normal dinner. There's absolutely no reason that I need to be fasting until 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So I'm going to try that. I'm going to see if that helps me keep my cool a little bit better throughout the day and just feel more calm and grounded. The other thing I decided is that typically I go to the gym about 5 days a week and do weight training for about 30 minutes. And I mean, generally it works very well for me. The other thing that I do is I have a treadmill desk. So while I'm working, I'm often walking on the treadmill at about 1 mile per hour. No, it's not a lot, but I'm certainly not sitting still, and I like that. However, when you're all amped up and you're stressed and you have to work, do you also want to be walking the whole time? I just felt like maybe I need more stillness in my life. So I'm going to trade in some of the weight training and some of the walking for more yoga time, because that feels really good right now. And I'm not talking about power yoga. I'm talking about, child's pose with a lot of breathing for like 30 minutes. That's kind of the yoga that I feel like I'm needing right now. The other thing, when things start to feel haywire, taking care of the basics always makes me feel grounded, right? Cleaning the house, getting the dishes done, folding the clothes, paying the bills. Isn't it the worst when you're crazy busy in all these different things you're doing, and then you walk into your kitchen and it's just a disaster? I thought, I'm going to flip this on its head. I'm going to take care of home first, business second. What a concept, you guys. And of course, I'm hitting the pause button on anything new in my business right now, like I mentioned. Yes, we're going to be putting out a new website. Yes, there's going to be a new podcast. However, this podcast will remain, by the way. It will be a second podcast. Do you see what I'm saying about getting too busy? But no new launches, no new products, no new anything else right now. That's going to be it for the next couple of months. Aisha is saying that she's been thinking about getting a business mentor or a coach or an accountability buddy. Thoughts, pros or cons? I think it's a great idea to get somebody to help you and support you in your business. I think it is also best if you pay them. I know that we don't want to do that, right? Because maybe you're not making a whole lot of money or you want to be careful with how you spend your money. But if you kind of find a peer mentor, what happens, like I want to say 9 times out of 10, is it's not an even match. One of you needs more help than the other, and it doesn't feel good. Like the energy exchange starts to feel awkward, or the other person flakes on you. You know, one person's really committed and the other isn't so committed, or they get too busy, or they have something going on in their life. So if the goal is to truly support yourself, neither of those scenarios are going to do it. So I really suggest that you hire somebody, because then the energy exchange will be equal and you will get what you are actually looking for. I hope that's helpful. Bev said something up here about setting good boundaries. Oh my goodness. Absolutely. Not only with yourself and your work hours, how about with your clients? Are you allowing clients to text you any time of day or night? Are you responding to them? If you have a Facebook group, are you constantly in there talking with everybody, answering every last question? Chill. It's actually a good thing to give your clients some space, because they will come to rely on you too much. And you are not here to create a codependent relationship. You are here to help them invest in themselves, build up their strength, and go out and conquer their lives. So it actually is better for you to take a step back. You will be doing them a favor, and you'll be doing yourself a favor. So with all of that in mind, I do have some other questions to cover today. And if you have any for me, feel free to put them into the comments. But now that we're all feeling very zenned out and calmed down, let's talk about Jessica's question. She said, I'm working on my freebie, meaning her lead magnet. What is your opinion about asking your Facebook group what freebie resonates most with them, or which one they love the most? So Jessica, I think it is a fabulous idea to use your audience for market research. That's an amazing thing about having a Facebook group, or even if you have a mailing list and you could pose questions to them. Definitely use your audiences in this way. However, what I would not do is put, like, say, 2 covers in front of them with a picture and a design and a headline, and say, which freebie do you like better? Because people are going to respond to the color, to the photo, to whatever. They're going to be like giving you art direction, like, well, I like that one, but I wish it had less red in it. That's not super useful. What you want to know really is, what does your audience want from you? So actually, about 6 months ago, I asked this group of health coaches, I said, what do you want to learn from me? I think I said this at the end of 2018. I said, what do you want to learn from me in 2019? Do you want to learn more about social media? Do you want to learn more about whatever? And the overwhelming response was that you guys wanted to learn how to create a signature program. And I heard you. And that's why in February, we did our signature program challenge, where I taught you how to do that. And it went over very, very well, very successful. And that's because I listened. So Jessica, I suggest that you ask the question, but don't give them too many details. Just say, what do you want to learn about? What area do you need the most support with? Something like that. And they can give you feedback without critiquing anything that you have already created, because that just won't be helpful. Here's a comment from Lisa. She said, it's so hard for me to stop expanding. I recently said no to something that I knew would be fun, but I know it would take too much energy without too much return. And it felt really good. That's wise. Think about that sometimes. What's the return going to be on this? I can think of a situation in my business right now where it's kind of a mess, and I really think I should clean it up. But on the other hand, even if I put all my attention on this, solved the problem, tied it up with a bow, what's the return on that going to be? It'll feel good to have it all figured out. But on the other hand, monetarily speaking, the return's going to be pretty low. It's not causing that big of a problem. It's causing a problem. It's just kind of irking me. So what's the return on investing my energy there? Point is, that problem's going to wait for another day while I focus on things that both energetically and monetarily are going to give me a greater return. Here's another question from Jackie. She said, I have no idea where to get started with my social media. I've created all the accounts, but I have no idea what I should be sharing. I've been recording some YouTube videos that are ready to launch, but I don't know how to build up hype for them before they launch. I've been told I should poll my audience to see what they would like to see posted, except I can't do that if I don't have an audience yet. Any advice would be greatly appreciated. Hey, Jackie, who's your target market? That's my only question for you. I think that when we don't have a real firm grasp on our target market, it becomes really hard to know what to post to social media. And if you think your target market is something like, I help busy women be more healthy and happy, false. Like if I had a big gong back here, I would hit it every time I heard a target market like that. If it's too broad that you don't know what this person needs to hear, then that's a good sign that you need to think about your target market a little more specifically. If you don't know what problem you're helping your target market solve, that's another thing. A very specific problem, not like helping somebody be more healthy. So vague, right? So I think if you don't know what to share, it means you probably don't have a firm grasp on your target market. We have past episodes that you can go back to and listen about how to determine your target market and make sure it's specific enough that now, if I go on my Facebook or I go on my Instagram or something, I can think of like 30 ideas of what I should share because I know exactly who I'm talking to and what she needs to hear. The other thing is it sounds like you're trying to do everything at once. Like you mentioned YouTube and just getting started with social media in general. YouTube's a tough one. Video takes a lot of effort to create video compared to like a quick Facebook post. So I would really encourage you to just start with one social media platform and use it, figure it out slowly. You're going to gain an audience slowly and make it more of an organic process. Then when you feel really comfortable on that platform, you will sort of graduate and be able to take on the next. So maybe you start with Facebook and then you're feeling really good about that. Then maybe Instagram will be something that you start doing in a couple of months. And then you'll get really good at that. But personally, I think it is way too hard to try to hit all the social media platforms. I just flat out do not use Twitter because I just don't like it. I've tried so many times and I just don't like it at all. And it's too much. It's too much for me. So like I really heavily focus on Facebook. I focus on Instagram. Sometimes I dabble in Pinterest. And like those are my big three. YouTube is something that if you ever see anything from me on YouTube, it is repurposed material from elsewhere, or it's something that my assistant is doing for me, because it really becomes too much to try to take it all on. So for all of you, you probably only need one or two social media outlets that you're really involved with. And in terms of building up hype for your videos before they launch, that's going to be quite hard if you don't have an audience to get hyped up. That's like all marketing stuff. Same thing with podcasts. They tell you like, you have to create hype around your new podcast. And on like the day of your launch, you have to do this and this and this so that everybody listens on that first day. It's so much pressure. I'm going to tell you something else. Create really good content that people want to consume. Again, you have to know who they are so that you can create content for them. But great, solid, meaty, interesting, entertaining content will always trump anybody's marketing plan. You will become famous just because you consistently is the key word, put out really good content that your audience wants to listen to or watch, pay attention to in some way. So I would start there with great content, one social media platform, and knowing your target market inside and out. I hope that helps, Jackie. Alrighty, let's see. I got a minute left. I'm going to do one more question. This one comes from Sarah. She says, I currently work in healthcare and I hear from patients all the time that they can't do things like physical therapy or a certain medication or get weight loss support because they can't afford the extra expense. I feel like those are the people that need help the most. I'd love to hear any of your creative ideas to offer resources to this population. Sarah, this made me think about one of the guidelines that I always give to health coaches, which is you want to price high. You want to attract a premium client who's going to pay you well. And the reason is because so many health coaches are just scraping by. And if you're just scraping by, can you afford to take on a pro bono client? Can you afford to talk to this person who says that they can't afford for weight loss support and say, oh, okay, well, I'll let you into my program anyway. You can't do that if you're just making enough to survive as a business, or maybe not even making enough to survive as a business. So when I used to work in advertising, Every ad agency always has a bank client. And as an art director, all of us creatives hated the bank client because it's boring to work on. You're not doing much interesting stuff for the bank. Same old, right? But guess what? The bank pays the bills, and it's a big client. They're paying our salaries so that the agency could then take on other more interesting projects that didn't pay very well. But if they only took on the interesting projects, the ones that they wanted to do, the ones that we as creatives wanted to work on, nobody would be getting paid. So it's really important that you pay yourself first, that you go after the premium clients, charge a high ticket price for your programs and your services so that you have the bandwidth to offer something low cost. Maybe 2 or 3 times a year, you run some group program that is $99. Maybe you do take on a certain number of sliding scale clients, but you can only do that when you're getting paid well and you can survive as a business. Make sense? All right, you guys, before we go, I want to give a big shout out and thank you to whoever Be and Eat Well is on iTunes who left this review. She said, I listen to Michelle's podcast when I'm getting ready in the morning. Even when I'm all caught up, I'll go back and listen to past episodes. I'm in the process of restarting my business and her content has helped me stay motivated and think about how I can do things differently, whether it's related to marketing, creating a signature program, or how to build an email list. Thank you for all your expert advice and knowledge, Michelle. That is amazing. I loved reading that. And Be and Eat Well, you are clearly a coach who's motivated because not only are you listening and you're re-listening, but you're making it part of your daily routine to learn and grow and stretch the way that you think about your business. So thank you so much for that review. And to thank you, I would love to send you a little gift. So please send your mailing address to support@healthcoachpower.com and just let us know that you are this iTunes person. Be and Eat Well. And for everybody, please head over to iTunes and leave a 5-star rating and review. I put out so much free content every week, and I'd love to be able to keep doing that for you. But I do need ratings and reviews to help us reach more health coaches. Thank you in advance for that. I'm going to be back next week. So keep asking all your great questions and I will keep answering them. Bye-bye, everybody.